Hey, good afternoon. It is May 1st, 2024, Wednesday. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Ketchikan. I hope you all are doing well wherever you are. Today is going to be a little different because I am stirred up in my spirit. So I just got to share this with you. I have been working on this message for several hours this morning, just churning on a lot of the headlines that are going on today. Now, I don't normally spend a lot of time looking at media or listening to things, but I do pay attention to what's going on in the world, especially when it comes to persecution and unrighteous judgment. So the Lord quickened to me this morning when I was listening to a recording from a pastor in Australia named Steve Ciccalante. He does excellent teachings, and he was talking about all the evil things that are going on in the world. And he talked about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Now, I don't know if you know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer is, but during World War II, he was a very prominent German pastor. He stood heavily against National Socialism, and he was very much against the development of a pro-Nazi, what they were calling a Reich Church. And what happened in Germany is that many of the pastors would not do anything but be silent to what was happening in their nation and the persecution of the Jews. And so there's a very famous quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and it says, "Silence in the face of evil is in itself evil." Now, in my notes, if you go to lesliebecker.org, you'll see all of the things that I've written down here, but I actually have a link to the Holocaust Encyclopedia that gives you a summary about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And I highly recommend you go there and get familiar with this and start looking up some of his books on Amazon or wherever you buy your books from, because he's got excellent publications that really divide the truth. And when we are in trying times like this, where we have the spirit of oppression coming against us through socialism and communism. And that is really the truth of what is happening in our nation. So in the headlines that I looked at today, I've got them listed in my notes here. We have the anti-Israel pro-Palestinian Hamas campus uprisings. At last count that I heard last night, at over 51 campuses across the United States. That's a big deal. That's very impactful across our nation. And most of the college leadership is being silent, and they're allowing this to happen and to escalate. And UCLA this morning, they waited until midnight last night before they called the police in to help them with the mess on that campus. That's a beautiful school, and it's just being allowed to go chaotic. If you go back and look at some of the videos from President Reagan in the late 1960s, when the campus uprisings were coming forward, he was very outspoken, and he said, "Where are the adults in the room? You don't negotiate with this kind of situation. No is no, and you shut it down." That's the bottom line. We should not be tolerating this. We should not allow this to be happening in our campuses. And I don't want any student that is going to have developed their education be indoctrinated with things that will obviously impact their future. And if they're going to stand for unrighteousness, their lives are going to be a struggle. Additional things that I saw in the news today: the International Criminal Court, also known as the ICC, is threatening warrants of arrest against Israel's leadership because of how they're handling the Gaza situation. Not a good place to be. Australia's highest court, this came from Pastor Steve Ciccalante in Australia. Australia's highest court turns a blind eye to police documented pedophilia charges that involved 24 government officials, and they're going to ignore it. These people had proven cases of rape of young children. Do you know in the state of California, you cannot do any kind of research on a mysterious death of a child under the age of 2? That's what the government of California has put in their legislation. That's the face of evil. The Freedom of Information Act is being ignored by our own government when our Congress is requesting information so they can get to the bottom of problems, so they know how to move forward for laws and justice for our nation. And our own appointed Appointed government people are saying, no, we're not going to give you that information. That's injustice. The U.S. border surges continue, and there's more trains coming in, while Chuck Schumer has dismissed the Mayorkas impeachment. So let me tell you something. Silence in the face of evil is in itself evil, and we have to be aware of that as Christians. Isaiah 5, verses 20 and 21 says, woe to them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes. You don't want to be wise in your own eyes. You need to be pursuing what the Word of God says and let that direct your steps. So I'm just sharing all of this with you. And as I listen more into the things that are going on in Australia and listen to how Pastor Cicciolanti was teaching the group that was on this recording, he said Psalm 109. Now, you know, there's 150 Psalms in the Bible. We can't know them all, but this is a good one. And I really encourage you that you get it out and read it. I've got it open in my Bible. I wasn't familiar with it, but I'm just going to read you the first two verses. It says, hold not thy peace, O God of my praise. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are opened against us. They have spoken against us with a lying tongue. They have compassed about us also with words of hatred and fought against us without a cause. We see that on our campuses. We see that at the ICC court. We see that in Australia. We see that in our Congress. We see that at our borders. We see that with President Trump in these lawsuits. We see this with Elon Musk. Australia is now suing him $500,000 a day because he posted the image, or he has refused to take down an image of a Islamic imam who actually killed a Catholic priest. And he will not take that image down. He's going to protect freedom of information and freedom of speech. There was no lie in that, but the Australian court wants it taken down. It happened in their land. They don't want it to be published. So what's happening? They are fighting against us without a cause. And if you think it's only going to happen to people of high profile, you're wrong. It's coming to our doors. And we cannot be silent in the face of evil, because that is evil in itself. So build up your faith, armor up with the Word of God. Know that God is absolutely good. Nothing's impossible with him. And what we see in the natural, God is the God of the supernatural. And the only way we're going to get through that is with this book. So I've heard people say, instead, Clint Eastwood used to take out his 357 or his whatever his big gun was, and he'd say, go ahead and make my day. Go ahead and make my day. This is the Word of God. This will always stand true. So let's make our day. Let's use this, and let's not be silent in the face of evil. And thanks for letting me let all what's in my heart out to share with you. Go armor up. Have a great day. Bye-bye.